Welcome to Daily Conversation. This is Mr. K.
Cedric.
Yeah, today is the 3rd of December 2021, and the time now is 6:17 a.m. Well, our topic today is when is it wrong to judge people? When is it not wrong? And how can a person rightly determine this? All right, so before we get started, please click the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, so here we go. Yeah, firstly, for this topic, I would like to make sure that I didn't misunderstand the meaning of the topic. For here, you talk about when is it wrong to judge people. So, do you mean that when the action that we judge people is not correct, or uh, like we use a wrong way to judge people?
Mm,
The former one, is it?
what's the formal one? Use
The
a
former one is whether you say the action of judging people is not
oh
so good, is wrong. Is it something like that? Or do you mean
uh, uh
we use the wrong way to judge people?
I think it's the wrong way and the wrong timing because the topic
Oh,
the first is a when, is not why or not. Yeah.
mm, okay. Yep. So yeah. So I think it is actually quite related to our previous topic, which is like to judge people's results, right?
Mm,
Okay. So yeah, for the first short question, which is like when is it wrong? And for this one, I think I pick up some of the points that we came across that day on previous conversation, and which is the first, not taking time into consideration. Yeah, for this one, because we are judging people, we are not judging on, let's say, a single task, a single project, and then we're judging a people, so we must take time into account. And then in Chinese, we have a proverbs which is like the distance can test a horse stamina. So we need time to see whether uh, maybe these guys' ways of doing things is is correct, and then can be applied, and then can test the time. Yeah, and then so this is the first one, and then second is it is wrong when we don't when we were unable to figure out the causality um, of his maybe success. So let's say he did something successfully, or or he did something uh, uh, the opposite, which is means maybe he failed to do something. So I think it is important to find out the causality, and uh, what is the problem, what's the reason of fail of failing or succeeding doing something. So for this one, uh, because sometimes we just don't know why the result is like that. Maybe it's just because luck, or some because unfortunately maybe he was not so lucky, or what. So we need to find out the causality. Yeah, and number three, uh, which is the one that is not mentioned on that day. I think because easier said than done. Yeah, we all know about this, and I think if we judge people based on merely or just based on what they say, then this is not a good way. And also, um, uh, we need to look into the action, what they do, what they take. what action they take. So this is the first part, which is when is it wrong, and the second part, when is it not wrong. For this one, yeah, I think actually, uh, um, it is it is quite quite difficult. And actually, I think that day we talk about the approach that we judge people based on their results is actually a good way. And then from that approach, we also take into account the time, uh, and then take into account the overall success. So I think when is it not wrong? Maybe we can use the we can try to judge their results, and then not a short term one, but in the longer term. Uh, yeah. So actually, I haven't got any other ideas about when it is not wrong, and how can we rightly determine that we didn't judge people wrongly.
Mm.
Yeah, so these are some of my thinking for this topic.
Yeah. And how do you okay, do you think is it good or bad to judge people based
Based
on
on
their moral,
moral. Um,
or judge whether it's a
mm,
good person or bad person?
um, good or bad person. Moral. Moral.
Or the person is
Mm,
friendly or unfriendly, or the person is like kind of like outgoing, or actually the opposite is the introvert. Mm.
okay. So we want to judge. Let's say, friendly or unfriendly,
Yeah.
introvert or extrovert. But
So yeah.
based on what?
So it is not like based on their results. This is not based on want to see whether they success or fail, because success and
Mm,
fail is one of the measurement, right?
yeah, yeah,
And we
yeah.
got other measurement. For example, good or bad. For example, selfish or
Mm,
generous. For example, friendly, unfriendly. For example, extrovert, introverts. For
mm,
example, hmm, yeah. There are
yeah.
many other measurements.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so in that case, maybe I think judge those things based on their action. Uh, let's say uh, moral or uh, immoral. Uh, yeah, we judge based on their action, but for moral values, it is quite subjective. Yeah.
Success or failure also subjective.
Um. Hmm. Yep. But since the judgment is the purpose of judgment is actually for, I think it's for ourselves. Uh, unless you want to judge a person, and then uh, uh, you want to tell them, you want to maybe give them some advice, you want to criticize them. If you're not doing those things, the judgment is just for yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe
What do you mean for yourself?
yeah, the purpose of judgment. Uh, let's say we judge people because we want to find a model to maybe to learn, or we judge a, a, a person. Maybe we want to decide whether to make friends with. Yeah. So in those situations, the judging people is for our own purpose. So I think if we subjectively judge them, let's say based on your moral values, then I think it is okay, because that is your value.
Mm. But do you think, okay, for example, if you can judge people whether they are good or bad, is
Mm.
it helpful for you?
Um, yeah, it is a good thing
Yeah,
if I can judge.
yeah. And and yeah, it's also for yourself. And but you are not trying to like get a model to become a good person. You just want to know whether it's a good person or bad person. Whether this
Mm.
whether whether this person uh can be trust or not.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's also good for yourself. Mm.
Mm. Right.
Yeah. But there's no model or there's no something you're trying to learn from them.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, but it can also be like whether you want to uh uh be friends with these guys, or you want to uh let's say uh to have some
Return.
interactions or
Yeah.
what.
Maybe do a startup.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it could be a lot of things. So
Mm.
judging people, yeah, is of course for ourselves. And yeah, judge people doesn't mean you want to criticize them.
Mm.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
And by looking from this perspective, so does it mean that we should we only have one way to judge people, which is based on their result, or actually other way, mm, like moralities, like the extrovert introverts,
Mm.
the bad of that thing, mm, or maybe gender, or maybe race, their race, maybe
Mm.
their religions, maybe their hobby, maybe
Mm.
their, yeah, a lot of things. You can think many thousands of them. Mm.
Mm. Yeah. For here, uh, um, one thing comes to my mind is like uh, when you were choosing the interviewee, yeah, which is like which if you're standing on a company's perspective, you're judging people, and then you want to choose which guy you want to uh, you want to hire, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Based on what, something like that. So um judge people. I think yeah, actually I have no idea, but I think maybe it depends on uh the what you want to do. Let's say if you want to start a business and then find a partner, and yeah, maybe the things that you choose to judge will be different than when you are doing something else.
Mm, for example,
Um, um, for example, if you want to just like making friends, maybe you won't consider genders or race so much. Uh, uh, and also maybe you won't consider something like the hobbies and uh, uh, and also when we talk about doing business, in that case maybe um, yeah, yeah, it's also quite the same. Uh,
mm, what do you do when you make friends? I mean,
Uh, Actually, for me, making friends, um I think the social life uh is uh is quite important, which is like uh uh what kind of life what kind of social life he is involved in.
yeah,
And of course, we let's say if one guys uh they like to go to the pubs maybe every weekends at nights, and then or maybe some friends they like to go to the badminton court and then play every, let's say, every Friday night. um yeah um yeah, for them, maybe if you think you don't want to join them, you don't want to go to the pubs, this is not the activities you like to do. I think this is something to consider. But if you just want to make friends and then not a very close one, then that will be okay. But if you want to make friends that wanted to hang out with, uh, or yeah, just have the closer uh, the just have the closer interactions, then maybe it is not suitable. And then for me also, actually, I look at the uh, I think I base on moral values quite a bit, which is like whether this guy is kind, uh, something like that. So I also will consider moral values.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think it's a good way or bad way to judge people like that when you are making a decision, for example, making a friend?
Sorry, making a friend. Making a friend. Yeah, I think it is okay. Yeah. Yeah, friend is just friends, and
Okay.
sometime I need. Yeah.
And the opposite question is, if you don't use this kind of criteria to
Mm.
judge, to make a judgment when you are making decisions, such as you are making a friend, is this a problem?
Um. Maybe yes, because uh yeah, because if they are not the person you like to be with, then you can just be normal friends, maybe not so close. Uh, but I think maybe you don't like to hang out with them. Then also you don't like maybe their personality. Um, yeah, something like that. So um,
Yeah, it means if you don't like their personality, if you don't like to hang out with them, what will you do? You just don't do
uh,
anything, right?
yeah, but I think in that case, it's not there's no difference uh, between friends or not friends.
Yeah, so I mean, is making friend is really that important that require us to use a judgment and and make a decisions?
Mm, yeah, actually, I don't do it. I just like,
Yeah, usually you
mm,
don't do it, right? I
yeah, yeah,
also do it. Hmm.
yeah.
So this is just nature, and we meet a person, and if it's good, and we kind of like to have interaction with them, we just continue. If we don't have a good interaction and we don't have like a strong connections, and then you just turn to normal friends,
Mm,
acquaintance, or maybe after some times we don't remember each other.
mm,
Yeah, so it's just nature.
yeah.
Mm. Yeah. So
Is it one of the example like it is it is wrong to judge people, or it is unnecessary to judge?
yes, unnecessary is a term.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. And how about, for example, good people, bad people? I think this is important. Okay, because we don't want to get hurt
Mm.
by bad people. Mm.
Yeah.
And for example, good people, bad people, we will think, yeah, if the person behavior is uh look like suspicious, and then we will be cautious. And if maybe we see their body language, if they kind of like hiding something, if they like put their hand into their pockets and then
Mm.
look around, keep looking around, and we will also be cautious this kind of people because we don't know what he or she are doing.
Mm.
Maybe there's one knife inside his pocket. Yeah, he
Mm.
want to find victims to to rob. Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, uh so this is this is something like mm, the criteria, some criteria to determine this, right? Mm.
Mm.
And so and also in the last conversation you mentioned about the cost and benefits. Yeah. And yeah, we can judge people, but we our judgment is not 100% correct, and we may wrong, but we weighing the cost and benefit, whether we want to trust these people. Yeah. And sometimes we get nothing if when we trust some people. So
Mm.
why don't so why we want to so why we need to trust them? So why we have to trust them? No need. Yeah. And so we're doing something that which is uh, more safer for us, and in in uh in the cost and benefits framework language, which is we maximize our benefits. We don't do something that uh has negative expected value. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm. Yeah. So uh it can also answer the first questions, when is it wrong to judge people, when it's not wrong. And you couldn't fully rely on your judgment. You also need to weigh in the cost and benefits, whether you want to trust them or not. Yeah, or whether you want to believe your judgment or not. Maybe the
Mm.
benefit is too huge, and then uh you think you can risk, you think you can take some risk, and then trust them one time. For example, when you're doing business, this is let's say 1 million or 1 billion contract, and you have and both of you have signed the contract, and but you're not sure whether the people whether the counterparty, okay, let's say you are the supplier, you're not sure whether the counterparty will pay you money or not,
Mm.
but you expect if everything's go well, and at the end the customer uh will kind of like uh kind of like purchase like a million or billion goods every years or every 2 years, so it's a huge amount to you.
Mm.
Okay. And then you try to trust them. Yeah, because you want to get a business. Yeah. You uh but of course you can also take some uh use some methods to try to minimize your loss. Yeah. And so it is also related to one of our topic before, which is, should you trust people?
Mm.
Yeah. For example, you give them a lower credit term first, and then you increase it gradually. You give them a, a shorter duration of credit terms. You also increase gradually. Yeah.
Mm.
So when it is wrong, which is you fully rely on your judgment, because you need to know that your judgment is subjective. It may not be it may not be true, and also uh, even though you have even though you have seen a lot of things, even though you have seen a lot of similar case, you realize there is a pattern, but you still don't know whether this is outlier or not. Mm, yeah, because there's nothing 100% certain in the world.
Yep.
Mm, yeah,
Yep. So so it means that judgments are more or less subjective, and then uh, we shouldn't fully rely on judgments, and we also need to take into account costs and benefits, right?
you in short, you need to use your brain to think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is yeah, this one of thing. And the second is you need to know why you want to judge people. For example, you want to learn from them, or you want to guess their mind and make your decisions. Yeah,
Mm,
whether they like you or not, whether they want you to do this kind of thing or not. For example, your boss, your business partner, you want to guess what is in their mind, but you don't want to, but you don't want to ask, you don't want to ask their motive, because also you do that, they may not tell you their real motive. Yeah, so
mm,
you need to guess their mind. You need to guess the implication of the sentence for your decisions. Yeah, and so this is also a judgment, involve judgment. And for example, you want to understand the implication of one sentence. You also will um, try to understand why 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 he will say this kind of sentence, and
mm,
in in this specific environment, yeah, what he means for. Yeah, because one sentence put in different scenario, put in different situation will have different meaning, right?
mm,
So you need to find the the implication, and also you need to understand what is the personality of this person, what type of person he is, and why he will say things like this. Yeah, what
mm,
he really wants. Yeah. Yeah. So this is also important. Yeah, the type of persons or their personalities. Mm. There's also some ways. Yeah, yeah. And okay, the next is uh, which this is one of the thing I have mentioned just now. There's no an absolute right on judgment, because judgment is subjective. So the last question is really kind of like the trap. How can a person rightly determine this?
mm,
You couldn't rightly determine this. Yeah, you can. You couldn't absolutely right. You you don't have that ability. Human don't have that ability. And also, the key point is you don't need absolute right. You just need ambiguous right. You don't need the exact right. You just need the roughly right. Yeah, and just like the example I make, just like one of the example I made just now, if you look
mm,
the person, their behavior is suspicious, and then you kind of keep a distance with them. You don't want to go near to them. Yeah.
mm,
So yeah, you you're weighing the cost and benefits. Mm. And you don't need to 100% right. Maybe they are just looking something. Maybe they look so suspicious is because they are looking something.
mm,
Yeah. Something dropped on the ground, and he's just looking it. Yeah. So uh, but but it doesn't matter for us. Yeah, and we don't need to know about that. We
mm,
just kind of like care ourselves. We want
Yeah.
to protect ourselves first. Yeah, so you don't need absolute right. You just need ambiguous right. Mm.
Mm.
And also, the next thing is we all use our bias to judge people to make decisions. Yeah, and also we also use our bias to receive the information, to look at the information. Yeah, yeah. This is applicable for everyone. We all have our own bias.
Mm.
Yeah, no one can escape from this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you couldn't do both of the both of the different both of the totally opposite different direction things at the same time. Yeah, you use your thinking.
Mm.
You think and then you act and then you
Yeah.
think you are right. For example, if you are buying a stock, and you know why you successfully uh purchase the stock, because there is another party which is the seller that think this is right to sell. Yeah, and when the seller sell the stock, then they think, wow, this is a fool. There's a fool want to buy my
Mhm.
stock. And when you are buy and if you are a buyer will think, yeah, there's a fool want to sell me the stock. Yeah,
Mm.
both of them uh uh meet together and then ask each other fool,
Mm.
ask each other the idiot. Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, but we all use our bias. This example. Mm, yeah. So yeah, and no matter what decision you make, this is a choice. Yeah, this is a choice. Mm. This is these decisions come from your bias, and you couldn't really know whether it is right or wrong, whether it is rewarding or whether it is a punishment, whether it is punishment at in real times. You couldn't know that. Yeah,
Mm.
you need
Yeah.
times. You need some time to see whether your decision is uh is like a wise decision or an unwise decision. And also your decisions, this decision, the experience of this decision couldn't fully replicate in your next decision, next similar decision, because things will change, condition will change.
Mm.
Yeah, timing will change, space will change. Yeah, so yeah, of course you can look at patterns. You can try to find the similarity. You can try to get some insight, try to find a pattern, and then kind of like make a better judgment. You can do that, but still it's not 100% certain thing. Mm,
Mm.
yeah, and so this is some of the point. Uh, when is it wrong to judge people, or when is it not wrong to judge people? Yeah,
Mm.
and also one of the a last thing for this is uh is for when is it wrong. If you don't have enough sample size, if you don't have enough sample size, and you need to aware that most likely you were wrong. Yeah, your judgment will be wrong. So you
Mm.
need to use other tools to like improve your decision making. You couldn't largely or rely too much on your judgment. Yeah, if you don't have enough sample size. Mm.
Mm.
The sample size could be the time, could be a space. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the last question is how can a person rightly determine this? Yeah, it's just like what I say. No way you can do that, but how can we how can we roughly how can we roughly determine this? How can we roughly know this? Yeah. And yeah, and in last conversation we talk about the result. We also talk about some history. We talk about track of the course. And
Mm.
here yeah, you can apply this into this determination. For example, you can look at yourself, your own history, your own track of records, and then you can find out, yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, the first thing is your behavior is consistent, your judgment is consistent, didn't change a lot of time. I mean, sorry, didn't change over time, and then
Mm.
you can judge, yeah, whether this kind of judgment really uh uh, uh really bring me a good result or bring me a bad result. Yeah. So you look at your history and then you adjust your judgment. Yeah. You
Mm.
adjust
So
your
it is
way of
like also
thinking.
based on our experience.
Yeah, yeah, based on your experience. Yeah, but this is but you can record down. You can kind of like get your track of records.
Mm.
Yeah. So it is not like you uh at this current moment you don't have any record, you keep thinking. Yeah, and because you have your own bias, you maybe what you recall is not the it's not the kind of like the it's not the actual experience, it's the imagined experience.
Mm.
Yeah, imagined
Yeah.
experience. So yeah, record down is important. Yeah, and also to you also can use this to judge people. Yeah, this is something we already mentioned based on their result, based on their track record. Yeah, yeah. So in short, which is this? Yeah, is it also related to the sample size? Your sample size or other people's sample size? Mm,
Mm.
yeah. Okay, so that's all for my today's sharing.
Mm. Yeah. Just now also I'm thinking of one example that you gave in previous conversation. The conversation about whether to trust people. Um, the example is like you say when our friends, let's say our best friend, want to borrow money from us, and then at the end actually we find out a solution for him, and then in that case it is uh, we actually uh, judged how to say we didn't judge them whether they are able to pay back.
Mm,
It is not mainly because of judgments. It is like we find a safer solution for uh, regardless of our judgment.
yeah, right.
Sometimes it could be like this, right?
Mm,
Also, like maybe you once you let's say once you encounter these things, and then you want to judge whether this guy is a real one or fake, and then maybe you can come up with some solution which is like uh, uh, not make decision based on this guy is fake or real, but another solution which is good for both of the judgments.
mm, yeah. So sometimes we can eliminate the judgment by introduce a clever methods or way of doing things. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, but of course this is not easy, and if you didn't say this approach, maybe I will be thinking like whether or not to lend money to these friends, and then whether or not I will it will hurt my
Mm,
friendship or what.
yeah. And but if you look at the bigger picture, why you should why should you care whether hurt the relationship or not? If you are a valuable person, you won't hurt this relationship just not lending money to them.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm,
Okay. So that's all for mine.
yeah. Okay, so that's all for today's conversations. How do you feel? Did you enjoy the conversations? Please tell us what you think of our conversation. And we are not native speakers. If you found any vocabulary mistake that we made, please also comment to let us know, because we want to learn more and improve ourselves. Remember to like and subscribe to us. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.